One incredible girl revealed a life-changing connection with a millionaire CEO's autistic son. In the heart of Maple Grove, where sunshine poured over flourishing gardens and laughter echoed from backyards filled with grilling family, 16-year-old Marissa was a beacon of hope. With 2 jobs, she worked tirelessly at the local coffee shop and babysat little ones after school, all while taking care of her ailing mother. One summer evening, she took a moment to breathe in the scent of barbecues and fresh-cut grass, dreaming about college scholarships that could change her life and her family's. Little did she know, fate was about to turn that dream into a vibrant splash of color. At the community center, while volunteering, Marissa stumbled upon Ethan, the son of a CEO who seldom interacted with the town. Despite his wealth, Ethan was often alone, struggling with autism that twisted words into knots, making it hard for him to connect. But when Marissa saw him painting during an art therapy session, something magical clicked into place. With every brushstroke, he radiated emotions that were otherwise locked inside, revealing a world filled with turmoil and beauty. She felt an electric connection, an understanding she had never experienced before. As their friendship blossomed, they found solace in each other's company. Their laughter filled the sterile walls of the center, transforming it into a magical sanctuary. Marissa adored Ethan's unique perspective on life, while he appreciated her warmth and kindness that made his heart feel less heavy. They shared dreams, fears, and a deep understanding, as if the universe had planned this connection all along, but the world outside their haven whispered doubt. Marissa's mother worried about the class gap, cautioning Marissa to keep her focus narrow, afraid that the friendship could burst into heartbreak. Ethan felt suffocated under the weight of his father's ambition, struggling to make sense of whom he was meant to be. In this vibrant community that thrived on appearances, the shadows of judgment began to etch deeper lines across their connection. In the midst of this turmoil, the town planned a dazzling charity event to raise awareness about disability. Marissa was to deliver a heartfelt speech, weaving the bridge between her world and Ethan's. As the date loomed, uncertainty gnawed at her, a fear of judgment from family and neighbors. Would she choose the truth or disguise it beneath societal expectations? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. On the eve of the event, Marissa's world shattered with a family revelation that shook her deeply. Confusion swirled within her, love, loyalty, and sacrifice clashed in a storm of emotions. As she prepared for the night ahead, she wrestled with the weight of their family's expectations against the precious connection she shared with Ethan. As darkness crept in, the charity event began, lights glimmered, and anticipation filled the air. Marissa stood at the podium, her heart racing, eyes darting to Ethan in the crowd. The moment of truth hung heavy, and with bated breath, she contemplated her next words, a choice that could unleash a wave of understanding or build an unyielding wall. Would she boldly confront everything holding them back, or would love remain trapped behind societal chains? The audience was silent, tension thick with possibilities, waiting for her revelation to change everything. Marissa's hands trembled as the microphone rested against her lips. She could hear her heartbeat in her ears, a steady thrum that felt like a countdown. The audience stood motionless, eyes reflecting a mosaic of curiosity, skepticism, and a touch of empathy. She searched for Ethan among the crowd, his familiar face a source of strength even amidst her swirling doubts. His gaze held a quiet encouragement, sparking the flame of courage she desperately needed. "Good evening, everyone," she finally managed, her voice steady despite the churning emotions within. "I'm here to share a story about understanding, connection, and acceptance." As she spoke, the warmth of the spotlights felt like a gentle embrace, guiding her through the moment. Her voice swayed and carried, holding her audience captive. "Many of you may know Ethan Chin," she began, her heart swelling at the thought of her friend. The murmur that rippled through the crowd was palpable. It was a mixture of surprise and intrigue, a realization that this hadn't just been a charity event. This was the beginning of a conversation. Ethan is so much more than a label. He paints his world with colors most of us overlook, and his unique perspective has opened my eyes to a reality far more beautiful than I ever imagined. As she spoke, Marissa noticed how Ethan's shoulders relaxed. His barrier softened, just a little. She could feel a shift, a collective inhalation of understanding as she painted pictures of him not just as the son of a wealthy CEO, but as a creative spirit battling with his own worries and fears. "He taught me resilience and kindness, lessons that go beyond the struggles we might face." But then, she took a deep breath, feeling the tide shift once again. "Yet, society still enforces walls. I felt them closing in on my friendship with him, fueled by what others might think." The confession hung in the air, a heavy weight. A few nods of recognition spread through the crowd, a silent acknowledgement of the fear that many felt. "I've been scared, and I've let fear dictate how I present him. But tonight, I choose courage. I choose to stand beside Ethan." Unfiltered, she locked eyes with Ethan, feeling a rush of adrenaline. We all deserve to be seen for who we are, not just our backgrounds or our challenges. The applause began quietly, but quickly built to a crescendo, filling Marissa's heart with warmth. It was more than just approval. It was a shared moment of awakening. People were considering their own perspectives, beginning to peel back the layers of their judgments. As Marissa stepped down from the podium, tears streamed down her cheeks unbidden. Was she truly free now, or was this just the beginning of a greater struggle? She approached Ethan, who'd risen from his seat, uncertainty etched on his features. His lips curved into a soft smile, filled with pride and admiration. "Marissa," he said, his voice almost hoarse, "thank you." But before she could respond, the atmosphere shifted. From the back of the room, a sharp, angry voice cut through the warm applause. "Who does she think she is, defending someone like him?" The crowd fell silent, shock hanging in the air like a thundercloud. Marissa's heart sank. She had awakened something deeper within the community, but had she also stirred the pot for criticism? The truth of her actions trembled on the edge of consequence. Would her bravery bring her and Ethan closer together, or would it shatter the fragile bond they had nurtured? Amid the silence that followed, all eyes turned toward her. A decision loomed. Would she confront the naysayer and risk everything, or would she find another way? One thing was certain: this fight for acceptance was far from over. What lay ahead would test not only their bond, but their resolve to change a community. The angry voice echoed in the room, its venom saturating the air. Marissa felt the weight of everyone's gaze, the tension thickening like fog. It was as if the moment she gathered her strength had suddenly shifted underneath her, leaving her bare and exposed before the crowd. Ethan's eyes darted around, searching for support as whispers began to ripple through. Marissa's heart raced, a whirlwind of emotions swirled within her. What should she do? Confront the attacker or let it slide and find another way? Each option felt like a tightrope walk, and Marissa could feel her confidence waver. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, gathering her thoughts. With all due respect, she started, the tremor in her voice betraying her anxiety. The anger in the room shifted slightly, intrigue replacing hostility. "I think it's vital that we have open discussions about who we are and how we see each other." The naysayer's face twisted in disapproval. "Open discussions?" He sneered. "Do you really think you understand what he goes through? Do you know anything about him?" Marissa's heart ached. This was not the moment she envisioned. This was a confrontation she hadn't anticipated. "Yes, I do," she said, her voice rising slightly. "I know Ethan, his struggles, his victories, and his mind. He's more than just a label. He's my friend. My best friend." A murmur of agreement, tentative at first, began to build from a few in the audience. It was small, but it coursed through Marissa like a spark igniting a fire. But there was still a wall to break through. "You only see him as the son of a CEO," she continued, a raw edge in her voice. But did you ever wonder how lonely it is to live in someone else's shadow? How terrifying it is to face a world that defines you before you even get the chance to speak. Her words unfurled like a banner, challenging the room to reevaluate their perspectives. The naysayer's resolve cracked momentarily. Behind bravado, uncertainty flickered in his eyes. You're right. I don't know it all. Maybe I'm scared too, he said finally, his voice less accusatory now. But isn't it easier to label people than to try to understand them? Realization struck Marissa with unexpected force. This wasn't just a battle for Ethan. It was a dialogue begging to emerge from a collection of quiet fears. Isn't that the very reason we need to talk? She countered, her heart pounding. Labels blind us to our shared humanity. We can choose to step beyond them to listen. And, just like that, the atmosphere shifted again. More people began to nod, the weight of acknowledgement loosening the rigid hold of past prejudices. Ethan took a step forward, emboldened by her words. Marissa is right, he said, his voice steady though laced with emotion. Please don't judge me for what you think you know. Get to know me, and you might just be surprised by what you find. The room inhaled sharply. Conversations began to flicker, words exchanged in soft tones, a budding openness taking root where hostility had once lingered. It wasn't wholly transformed, but it was something, a crack of possibility in the clouded judgments that had so long defined their community. But then a chilling echo crept in, murmuring doubt. What if they don't want to hear you? A gnawing feeling curled in Marissa's stomach. Was this breakthrough real, or just fleeting hope dodging the truth of their reality? With uncertainty pressing down on her shoulders, Marissa held Ethan's gaze. Could they hold this moment? Could they change the tide together? Outside the building, storm clouds gathered, darkening the quiet evening, echoing the struggles still lurking just beneath the surface. And as Marissa stood there, heart racing and hope igniting, one thought wrestled with her mind: what would the next confrontation bring, and would their newfound courage withstand the test? Marissa stood in the thickening silence, trying to catch her breath. The dim light of the room flickered, casting shadows on the faces around her. She could see Ethan, standing just a few feet away, his expression more open than she had ever seen it. The vulnerability in his eyes mirrored her own conflicted emotions. But as reassuring as it felt, the moment hung by a thread. Maybe we could start over, one of the sympathetic voices suggested, the words spilling out, a lifeline thrown to break the tension. The murmurs of agreement grew louder, igniting a genuine conversation among their peers. And at the center of it all stood Marissa, feeling more like an anchor than ever. I think that's a great idea, she said, relief flooding her as she spoke. We can begin by sharing our stories. Ethan shifted on his feet, and though he didn't speak, it was clear his heart was racing too. They were all seeking a connection, a way to bridge the divide created by judgment, by fears that had taken root and festered for too long. Honestly, I've never really felt understood, Ethan finally admitted, his voice dipping into the growing comfort of the conversation. People look at me and see only my dad's money. They think they know who I am. Marissa felt a pang at his words, realizing how much pressure he carried, how deeply his experiences ran beneath the surface. Ethan's more than a label or a product of privilege, she said, her tone firm yet soft. He's got dreams, things he wants to achieve, challenges he faces daily that no one ever sees. Suddenly, one of the girls in the back spoke up, her voice familiar yet trembling. I didn't always understand. In our school, I was always told to act a certain way, to be a certain kind of person. I didn't realize until now how wrong that is. We need each other. We're not just our backgrounds or our stories. The group nodded in agreement, the weight of doubt beginning to lift. Conversations sprang up, connecting eyes and sparking stories, long-held feelings finally spilling over. The air thick with vulnerability turned lighter, laughter tackling the heaviness as they shared moments of pain and rebellion. Marissa could hardly believe the transformation. With every new voice that joined the discourse, the divide which had once felt so massive began to seem like a river they could bridge together. However, she knew it wasn't all fairy tales. Just as cherished moments shared could lift spirits, there would always be scars behind the laughter. But what about the ones who don't want to change? one of the boys asked, the question puncturing the joy of the moment. We can't force anyone, Marissa replied, the weight of truth pressing heavily. But we can be the change. We can lead by example. The room quieted again. Inspired by their collective resolve, she turned to Ethan. Together, we can create a ripple effect. Even one conversation at a time. Just then, a loud crack echoed from outside, and everyone jumped at the sound of thunder, as the storm finally unleashed its fury. Rain pounded against the building, a reminder of uncertainties that had yet to be washed away. Marissa shivered, but felt Ethan's warmth next to her. "Let it rain," he said softly. "We'll face whatever comes." It was a truth she needed to hear. Yet, in the back of her mind, that lingering question gnawed at her: would their courage withstand the lightning strikes that lay ahead? With determination propelling her forward, Marissa began to formulate a plan for their next steps, ready to confront the unknown challenges that awaited them. But as rain blurred the windows, one thought struck her: could they really withstand the storm they had just invited? As the rain continued to drum against the roof, the group's tension seemed to dissipate, replaced by a burgeoning sense of solidarity. Marissa watched the storm outside, the splattering droplets creating small rivers along the glass. It mirrored the flood of emotions churning within her. She faced these peers, each of them wearing their hearts on their sleeves, moments of hurt surfacing in their shared laughter. It was raw, it was real, and it was just what they needed. "All right, let us really dive in," Marissa said, forcing a smile despite the storm outside. "Who's next to share?" A hesitant boy, Nathan, raised a hand. His face was flushed as he stood up, revealing the nervousness clenching his stomach. "I guess I will." He cleared his throat, the room quieting as everyone turned to him, eager but supportive. I've always felt invisible," he began. "Like, no matter what I did, it was never enough. My parents want me to excel in sports, but I'd rather be in the art room. I just want to paint. But I can't seem to bring this up. It's like they don't see me, just this expectation." Marissa's heart ached for him. She could see the struggle behind his words, the yearning to break free from chains of expectation. "You're enough," she said softly. "Your passion is valid. You don't have to conform to anyone else's dreams." The group murmured their support, filling the space with understanding warmth. Nathan's eyes brightened, a flicker of hope kindling as he recognized he was not alone. Ethan's hand slipped into Marissa's, the unexpected touch sending a sweet jolt of reassurance through her. She looked up at him, surprised, but his expression was focused, as if he were ready to divulge something monumental. "I want to share too," Ethan said, his voice steady but tinged with vulnerability. "For a long time, I felt suffocated by my life expectations and that label of being the rich kid. I've been in a bubble, isolated and terrified. Everyone just assumes I have it all figured out." He paused, searching the faces surrounding him, and Marissa recognized the heavy weight resting on his shoulders. "I want to break that mold. I want to be seen for who I really am. But it's hard." The storm outside intensified, thunder rumbling in agreement, as if echoing his confession. Marissa's fingers tightened around his, grounding both of them. "And it takes bravery to stand here and say that," she added, allowing her sincerity to spill out. "But you've done it. You're on the right path." As Ethan spoke, something shifted in the room. A girl from the back, known for her icy demeanor, rose to speak. "I used to believe all those judgments about you, Ethan," she confessed, her voice wavering. "But I see you now. I've been hiding behind my own mask of perfection, afraid to show anyone who I really am." Marissa felt the energy swirling around them, a jigsaw puzzle of emotions beginning to fit together. Every conversation, every moment we share, chips away at those walls. Ethan spoke passionately, eyes brightening. "We could actually create a space where anyone can be vulnerable without fear. Imagine that." The room buzzed with renewed energy while raindrops sang a rhythmic chorus against the windows. Marissa's mind raced, fueled by the possibilities they could forge together. But she also sensed something lurking beneath the surface of their newfound connection, a deeper honesty that still needed to be addressed. "Yeah, but what do we do about the people who are unwilling to meet us halfway?" She pressed gently. How do we change minds that are closed? The laughter slowly receded, replaced by frantic yet hopeful glances exchanged among the group. For a moment, all felt at an impasse, fragile links of connection faltering like the storm outside. In that silence, she realized the truth was waiting for them, one they needed to confront as a collective. Together, they might face rejection, misunderstandings, and heartache. But could they truly become the change they wanted to see? Marissa squeezed Ethan's hand, fighting the questions that swirled within her. They had begun to unearth possibilities, but the real journey was just starting. The next storm wouldn't only be outside, it was brewing deep within them. Would they be able to weather it together? The storm outside continued to rage, but somehow, the inside of the room felt warmer, charged with energy and possibility. As the raindrops raced down the glass, it was as if each of them had shed a piece of their hidden weight, unburdening themselves in a space they had created together. Marissa looked around the circle, the faces around her alive with emotion. What if, she suggested, her voice steadying, we each shared something we wish people understood about us? Something raw, something real. Ethan nodded eagerly. Yeah, like, we could be honest about our lives, no filters. Nathan shifted in his seat, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his features. But what if we scare each other away? What if sharing too much is too much? Marissa felt a swell of reassurance welling up. That's okay. It's okay to be scared. It means we're human. The girl with the icy demeanor, Sophia, broke into a wavering smile. I've spent so long convincing myself that being perfect meant nobody could see my flaws. So much time wasted. The laughter and murmurs that rippled through the group felt vibrant and alive. Little by little, walls were softening. I've got something, Ethan chimed in, his tone becoming serious. You know how everyone talks about the privilege of money? It can be isolating. I don't know how to connect with people. They see my house, my clothes, they think they know me. But they don't. Marissa felt her chest tighten. It was a perspective she had never thought about. They often painted wealthy kids as entitled, but hearing Ethan speak, she realized he was just as lost as anyone, craving real relationships beneath the surface of his circumstances. What about you, Marissa? Nathan asked, his voice tentative. What do you wish people understood? She hesitated, emotion creeping into her throat. I grew up feeling invisible too. Everyone focused on what was happening around me, but never on me. I felt the pressures of expectations, friendships, even family. It can be so overwhelming. A quiet hush fell over the group. It was comfortingly intimate yet frighteningly honest. Marissa could see they were all yearning for acceptance, for validation. Can we hold on to this? Nathan asked, his eyes wide and hopeful. Yes, Sophia agreed. We have the chance to build something real, a support group, a family of sorts. We could meet every week. Ethan's face brightened. And we can help each other be brave. Hold each other accountable for being our true selves. Marissa felt a surge of warmth crediting their momentum, but an unsettling thought nagged at her. But we need to be ready for rejection. Some won't understand our vulnerability. What if we face backlash? Just then, a loud clap of thunder echoed, reverberating, a powerful reminder of nature's unpredictability. It felt symbolic. Then, Ethan answered quietly yet firmly, we stand together. United. No one will get left behind. If we choose vulnerability, we choose each other. As they all absorbed what he said, the room began to hum with inspiration again. Each of them felt that deep longing to truly connect. And then it hit Marissa amidst this storm gathering in both the sky and within her. Realization dawned. They could create their own momentum towards understanding and healing. Together, we'll find our way, she said, her heart pounding. A small but buoyant thrill surfaced in her chest. Hope was rekindling. Just as her words faded into the air, an unexpected loud knock resonated at the door. It jolted everyone, heads snapping towards the entrance in confusion. Who could that be? Nathan whispered, eyes wide. Marissa felt her pulse quicken. What if the next storm was about to roll in, testing the bond they had just begun to form? What if this moment could change everything? The group exchanged glances, uncertainty heavy in the air. The wind howled outside, as if the storm was trying to warn them about the unknown visitor at their door. Marissa's heart raced, and she felt a bead of sweat form on her forehead despite the chill in the room. Should someone open the door?" Nathan asked, his voice a mere whisper. Ethan shrugged, looking nervous yet curious. "I guess we have to find out, right? It's not like we can ignore it." Taking a deep breath, Marissa stood up, her legs shaky beneath her. Each step toward the door felt like a leap into uncharted territory, an adventure she hadn't planned for. The people inside this room had just opened their hearts, and now it felt as if their newfound bond was about to be tested. She reached for the doorknob, her fingers trembling slightly. With a swift turn, she pulled the door open, and there stood a girl, soaking wet from the rain, with striking blue eyes that shone with emotion. She looked almost fragile, clutching a worn backpack to her chest, as if it contained her entire world. "Hello?" Marissa said, taken aback. "Is this the group? The one for support?" The girl's voice was soft yet powerful, and she shot a pleading look at Marissa, as if desperate for understanding. The rest of the group gathered behind her, curiosity piqued. "Who are you?" Ethan asked, stepping forward with a gentle perception of her vulnerability. "I'm Mia," she replied, her gaze shifting from each face before settling on Marissa. "I know this might be weird, but I've been watching from a distance. I saw you all in the park earlier today. I know how isolating it can be. I wanted to feel connected." Marissa felt a rush of compassion. Here was another soul, drawn to their circle like a moth to a flame, embracing the same hunger for connection and understanding. "You're welcome here, Mia. We've just started to put ourselves out there." Mia's shoulders relaxed a bit, and she stepped inside, leaving a trail of water droplets on the floor. The warmth from the room enveloped her, and it seemed to ease the weight she had been carrying. As they settled back into the circle, Mia shared her story. "I have a brother with autism. Sometimes it feels like the whole world expects him to fit a mold. I just want people to know he is amazing just as he is. But sometimes I stand up for him, and people look at me like I'm crazy." Sophia nodded, her icy demeanor melting. "That perspective is what we need. Each of us has felt the burden of expectations. We can't change what we've been through, but we can choose how we lift each other up." Mia's blue eyes sparkled with recognition as she watched the group begin to grow closer. The shared understanding among them felt palpable, a thread binding their stories together. After a few moments of silence, Marissa broke the hush. "What if we take this a step further? Meeting every week is great, but what if we plan an outreach too? We can show others what it means to embrace and support one another." Nathan's face brightened, a smile creeping across his face. "I love that idea. We can build a community and invite others to share their truth." A resolute energy filled the room. They were no longer just individuals sharing their burdens, they were becoming a force, a family. Just then, another loud clap of thunder echoed, shaking the ground beneath them. The lights flickered, a reminder of how quickly things could change. What if this was just the beginning? Marissa pondered, excitement bubbling within her. Her words hung in the air, hinting at the adventures and challenges that lay ahead. What connections would they discover? What battles would they face together? The night had more to unveil, and she couldn't help but wonder, would the youth they inspire find their own voices, and what ripple effects might their unity have in the world outside? Mia shifted in her seat, a wave of emotion washing over her as she felt the warmth of acceptance from the group. Her story hung heavily in the air, a delicate truth that seemed to resonate with each member present. As the storm raged outside, the room felt like a fragile safe haven, a cocoon of shared vulnerabilities and burgeoning hope. I really appreciate you all letting me in like this," Mia began hesitantly, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's hard to explain how much it means to be seen." "There's no need to thank us," Ethan replied, his gentle tone a soothing balm. "We're all just trying to find our way. You're one of us now." Marissa felt a newfound surge of responsibility. She was determined to make their group more than just a meeting place. "Let us plan something for next week," she said, her thoughts racing. "Maybe we can create awareness about autism? Share stories? Show people what it's really like? Like a community event?" Nathan suggested, enthusiasm dancing in his eyes. That's genius. We could invite families, organizations, anyone who wants to join in. We could even bring in speakers. Mia's face lit up. Oh, I know a few people who might be willing to help. There's a local advocacy group my brother's been involved with them. They care so much about spreading awareness. Marissa couldn't suppress a smile. Just a few moments ago, they were a group of strangers. Now, the idea of a community event sparked an energy between them, a sense of purpose that beat alongside their hearts. Let us do it, she declared, determination boiling in her veins. It's time for us to step into the light. As the conversation flowed, they brainstormed ideas for the outreach. Laughter broke out over shared jokes. Plans were sketched out on crumpled napkins as everyone began feeling the electric pulse of possibility. But amid the excitement, the previous tension remained. Marissa caught a glimpse of Mia's face, shadowed with something more profound. An unspoken worry flickered in her blue eyes. What if we can't really make a difference? Mia finally admitted, her voice small. What if we fail? Marissa prompted, echoing Mia's uncertainty before a charged silence settled in the group. But what if we don't? Ethan countered, his voice filled with conviction. What if even one person feels seen because of us? What if we break that isolation Mia spoke about? That's what matters. His words hung in the air, a powerful reminder that change began with hope, one connection at a time. They all stared at one another, reflecting the flickers of doubt, yet fortified by the light of potential. Just then, another loud clap of thunder erupted. It rattled the windows and sent shivers down their spines, bathing the room in a momentary darkness. The power flickered and failed, plunging them into shadow. For a moment, shock surged through the group. Then, slowly, Mia spoke from the depths of the quiet. Maybe this chaos outside is just like everything we've been through. It can be dark and frightening, but when the storm passes, there's so much possibility for growth. Mia's voice became a beacon that cut through the dread. The chaos began to feel familiar, like a challenge they could face together. Marissa's heart pounded. Let us light candles, she suggested, her voice trembling with excitement. Let us fill this space with warmth, flood it with our dreams. As they all scrambled for candles from the kitchen, the flickering flames began to replace the darkness. Shadows danced on the walls, reflecting both fear and hope. The room came alive with conversations, laughter, and chants of encouragement. As they crowded together in the glow of tiny flames, the stirring feeling of unity deepened. At that moment, amidst the howling storm, they were a community. But Mia could barely shake the feeling gnawing within what lay beyond the glow of their tiny sanctuary. What would happen when they stepped back out into the world? Could they really carry the candle's light into others' lives? And just then, her phone buzzed with a message. It was from her brother, asking her where she was. She hesitated, staring at the screen. Maybe it was time to show him she wasn't alone anymore. What if he'd want to join them? What if he could find acceptance among their newfound family? The possibilities unfurled like a banner, waiting to be claimed. Mia took a deep breath, her heart racing as she stared at the message. A wave of uncertainty washed over her. Would her brother really understand what she was doing? Would he see the changes in her? The flickering candlelight danced shadows across her face, and suddenly that room felt like a crossroads between her past and a future she dared to hope for. Who is that? Ethan asked, his curiosity peeking out from the warmth of the moment. It jolted Mia, and she quickly tucked her phone away. Just my brother, she said, forcing a smile. Yes, checking in. The atmosphere shifted a bit, like a low tide. Marissa sensed Mia's hesitation. You should really invite him, Mia, she urged softly. It could mean a lot for you both. But the gnawing fear tightened its grip. What if he laughs at this? Or thinks I'm being silly? I mean, it's just a group of us trying to. What's the word she trailed off, searching for the right term to describe the budding idea blooming within her. Trying to make a difference? Nathan filled in, and Mia felt a rush of gratitude. It was odd, how much comfort a few words could bring. Yeah, that. She flicked her gaze to the window, watching the storm rage outside. The truth was, She wanted her brother to see her growth, her strength. But what if he only saw the girl he had always known, the girl who struggled? Ethan stepped closer, sensing her turmoil. You can't control how he reacts. But if you really want him here, don't let fear hold you back. His words echoed inside her, resounding like the thunder outside. Slowly, she pulled her phone from her pocket again. One message. That was all it would take. As she composed her response, a surge of determination replaced her doubt. Hey, I'm at a gathering with some friends. We're discussing something important. Want to join us? The three of them watched her, a raw silence hanging between them as they awaited his reply. With each second that passed, anticipation swelled in her chest. When the response finally came, it lit her screen like a spark. Sounds interesting. Where are you? The thrill of excitement and anxiety nearly pushed her over the edge. This was it. This was the moment she had wanted, but had hesitated to reach out for. With a few more taps, she sent the address of their meeting spot. I did it, she breathed, looking at her friends, her heart racing in a wholly different way now. Awesome. Marissa beamed, clapping her hands together. You'll see, it'll be good to have him around. But still, doubt nudged at Mia's mind. What if he didn't feel the same energy that was igniting in the room? What if he couldn't accept this new version of herself she was starting to embrace? Suddenly, a gust of wind howled outside, rattling the windows, and for a split second, Mia felt just as chaotic as the storm. But then, she glanced around at the flickering candles, the warm faces of her newfound friends, and her resolve strengthened. She took one last deep breath and let the fear seep away. What if we could shine? What if we could inspire? She whispered, looking at each of them in turn. That's exactly what we'll do, Nathan said, and the determination in his voice was contagious. The group rallied around the idea. They hashed out plans for their community event with renewed fervor. Each suggestion was met with more laughter, more connection. And in the midst of the gleaming flicker that surrounded them, Mia resolved to be brave. She would take this step for herself and for her brother too. His acceptance, his understanding might just help her shine brighter, but as the lights continued to flicker with the storm still raging outside, a nagging question crept into her mind. When he arrived, would everything feel as beautifully expansive as it did now? As they continued their excited discussion, Mia felt the ticking clock of anticipation in her chest. Maybe this time, they could all find a light that extended beyond those walls and illuminate paths unknown. The doorbell rang and the group stilled. It was time. Marissa felt a surge of excitement and anxiety coiling in her stomach as she glanced around the dim room filled with flickering candlelight. The storm's howling was still loud outside, but that felt faint compared to the roaring pulse of anticipation among her friends. Ready? She whispered to Mia, who stood beside her with wide eyes. Mia nodded, her gaze locked on the door, biting her lip as if trying to find the courage buried within. With a heartbeat echoing in her ears, Marissa took a step forward and swung the door open, revealing a young man standing soaked to the skin, his hair clinging to his forehead. Mia's brother, Alex, stared back, confusion and curiosity swirling in his deep brown eyes. Mia? He asked, his voice cutting through the air heavily, like the silence that enveloped them. Mia. The room erupted as her friends welcomed him in warmth, and for a moment, the storm outside faded. Alex stepped inside, hesitantly shaking off droplets of rain as if feeling the warmth envelop him, and beneath the space's buzzing energy, Marissa caught a glimpse of uncertainty in his expression. Welcome, I'm Marissa, she said, extending her hand. He took it gingerly. Mia, tell me what this is all about, he said bluntly, his brow knitted with concern, and she felt her stomach drop. Mia stepped forward, her heart racing, taking in a deep breath. We've started a support group. We're here to talk about understanding, acceptance, and about being ourselves. The words spilled out, each carrying a weight she had been longing to share. Suddenly, all eyes turned to her as if they were waiting for a signal, and somehow Mia knew this was the moment to speak truthfully. I wanted you to be here because I need you to see the change. I've found a place where I can be myself. Alex's expression softened, though confusion still danced in his eyes. A place? You mean, these people? Mia nodded, her heart pounding. Yes. They've shown me I'm not alone. There's so much more to all of us than what meets the eye, and I want you to experience this. The group watched in silence, the electricity buzzing in the air as Marissa saw hope flickering in Mia's courage. Okay, Alex responded slowly. Show me. And just like that, Marissa felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Here was the moment they had all been waiting for, the chance to bridge connections not just within this room but beyond. Nathan stepped forward, his face glowing with enthusiasm. Why don't we share our stories, Mia? It'd help him understand how we all feel. One by one, the group began to share. Ethan spoke about his struggles of feeling trapped in expectations, Sophia opened up about her attempts to live up to a facade of perfection, and Nathan revealed the pain of feeling invisible. Each emotion shared was a thread woven into a tapestry of connection, slowly unraveling the fears that had once tied them down. Marissa watched as Alex absorbed each story, his expression shifting from skepticism to intrigue. He started to lean in, his eyes darting between the faces sharing their truths, the wall he wore starting to crack. When it was finally Mia's turn, she breathed deeply, her hand finding Alex's as she began to share her experience of having a brother with autism. I've felt so many things, Alex, fear, love, pride, and I want people to recognize the beauty in my brother beyond the challenges. Moments passed in respectful silence as the group processed her words. Alex blinked back emotion. I never thought much about how hard it must be for you for him. It's just he paused, searching for the words. People expect him to fit their definitions. Mia nodded, her heart leaping. We can help others understand, and not just ourselves. This is about creating a change. A gentle quiet fell over the group as the candlelight flickered, illuminating faces transformed by understanding. Maybe you could help lead one of our meetings, Marissa suggested, her voice steady, evoking a wave of murmurs in agreement. Yeah, Nathan chimed in. You'd be awesome at that. A hesitant smile broke through on Alex's face. All right, I'm in. Let us show everyone that understanding is worth striving for. The room buzzed with a renewed energy, no longer a collection of individuals bearing their burdens, but a vibrant community standing together. Just then, another round of thunder echoed outside, reverberating through them. Lisa's voice cut through the tension. Look at us, we're living proof that sharing our stories brings us together. They all held on to that feeling, crowded together, let the storm rage on. This wasn't an ending, it was a symphony of connections that had begun to play, their hearts buoyed by a shared desire for genuine acceptance, leaving the burdens of darkness behind. Marissa looked around, her heart swelling with pride. All of them stood ready to face the challenges ahead, igniting hope in ways they hadn't imagined before. Perhaps together, they could break down the very walls that had kept their community apart. You all are incredible, Marissa said, her voice brimming with hope, a tear rolling down her cheek as each of them began to connect over shared stories and newfound compassion. With hearts finally open, they felt alive as the light flickered in their gathering. They realized the strength held in vulnerability. It was time to step into the storm together, to share the light they had ignited in one another with the world outside, to become the change they wanted to see. Now is the moment. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for more incredible stories like this. Hit that like button now to help us reach even more hearts. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who could use this kind of transformation. Your actions matter. Together, we can make a difference. Comment below with your thoughts on this inspiring journey.